Welcome to round 4 of the Intercontinental Rally Challenge. It is the first time the IRC has come here to the Ukraine, and we come to Yalta, to the Prime Yalta Rally. Oh, something I don't know an awful lot about, I'd have to say. Don't really know what to expect up in the hills. I know it's going to be a tarmac rally. I know it's going to be a challenging rally. Don't know an awful lot about it, though. So, to find out a little more about the stage conditions, to find out a little bit more about what we might expect this weekend, I spoke to one or two of the drivers. Here's what they had to say.
The stages, very, very tricky, variable grip. A lot of different types of tarmac make up the stages. It's always changing the whole time. Some places you can brake and you have good grip. Sometimes you can brake and it's not very good at all. It's very difficult to see, and the pace notes, I think, okay, and always critical, but here I think sometimes you can't mark enough places for how tricky it is. So really big concentration, and I think it's going to be massively tricky for everyone.
Yeah, definitely a new rally for everybody, but also we've got to think about the weather. It's so changeable here. We're right by the coast of the service area, but we go straight up into the mountains, quite similar to Turkey. It's got its own weather climate, you know, and it can change in minutes, so taking a choice for tyres that we're going to be using on a stage in 3 hours' time is going to be really difficult.
I think it's a nice new rally for everyone. It seems to be quite difficult, but okay, we will try to get a good pace on this kind of roads, but of course it won't be easy, so maybe for the first slope we go a little bit slower and to adjust the setup, and when the feeling is good, then we should go to attack.
It looked like a mix of Rally d'Antibes in south of France and a bit of Monte Carlo, a bit of Rally du Valais in Switzerland, and also a bit like in Barum Rally in Czech Republic. Yeah, a lot of downhill, uphill, and very twisty, very few grips, and yeah. That's a bit like this.
Yeah, the weather is quite important, means that you can have some dry section, and in the same stage you can have a hard, wet shower coming, because there is some mountain very, very close from the service park and from the stages. So it's really not easy to make the right tire choice, especially when there is 3 stages in a row, like here, and so it's always a compromise between speed, security, so it's not easy. It's not easy.
Bumpy, slippery, rough, broken, and some ice in some places.
So PG Anderson there talking about ice on the stages. Listen, as you can see from the weather behind me, it's wet, it's chilly, but it's almost summertime here. We're not going to get ice on the stages, that's absolutely for sure. What he means is obviously that really slippery tarmac, when it gets wet, as it's going to be today, because as you can see, the weather is not great out here today. When that tarmac gets wet, it is like ice. It is like glass in places. Very, very difficult indeed. So, well, we heard what the boys had to say. I think it's going to be a real challenge up on the hills around Yalta this weekend. It's a long rally, 260 kilometres. Kicks off this afternoon, actually, Thursday afternoon, with a couple of short stages, a couple of short blasts through street stages here around Yalta. Then we head into the mountains Friday and Saturday, 2 loops of 6 stages. Very, very challenging indeed. Who do we think might feature at the top of the leaderboard come the end of this weekend? Well, I tell you what, you can't really look a lot further than Terry Neuvel. What a run of form he's in just now. Podium place on the Canary Islands, and then that incredible win on his first visit to the Tour de Corse, the youngest ever winner in the IRC. Neuvel right now is a young man full of confidence. He's a young man going places, that's absolutely for sure. But I tell you another thing, Jan Kopecky needs a return to form, and Kopecky will like these stages. They are mountain stages, they're a bit like Corsica in places, they're a bit like Monte Carlo in places, but they're a lot more open, a lot wider, a lot faster, a lot more flowing, and that will suit Jan Kopecky's style. But he will have a real challenge from the returning Juho Hänninen, the Mercurial Juho Hänninen. Just seems to turn up as and when Skoda wants him to turn up. He would like, I'm sure, to do every round of this year's IRC, but he does the job when he's asked to do it, Hänninen. And I think, having taken his first tarmac win in the Canaries just a month or so ago, Juho Hänninen will be desperate to build on that and to really mount a challenge, to make it almost, if you like, difficult for Skoda to say no to him. No, we don't need you anymore. If he keeps putting the points together, keeps putting the points on the leaderboard, Häkkinen, I think, will have a very good case to go on and do the rest of the IRC season, and I think he's got a good chance here. The two Skodas, the factory Skodas of Häkkinen and Kopecky, will be very strong indeed. They'll be pushed hard, though, by the, if you like, the Skoda UK entry of Andreas Mikkelsen. Mikkelsen had a difficult rally, didn't he, in Corsica? He was going okay, wasn't going too badly, not a huge amount of pace, steadily through the stages. Then he made that mistake, had that puncture with one stage to go, and it dropped him back down again. And well, we know that young Mikkelsen has pace, he's got blinding pace, and we just have to see whether or not he can put that together over a course of, 14 stages here in this rally. Let's have a look, though, at the Peugeots. We've already talked about Neuville. He will be, I think, the main Peugeot challenger, but you cannot discount Brian Bouffier. Brian Bouffier with that magnificent win on the Monte Carlo rally at the start of the year. What a disaster he had in Corsica. He was doing okay. Listen, he wasn't doing brilliantly, but he was doing okay. Found himself in a last stage battle, got very, very ragged going through the last stage, eventually pinged his car off into the trees. End of the rally for him. No points for Bouffier. He needs to get his championship challenge back on course. So I think those boys will be there or thereabouts. All 6 of those boys will be right at the top, battling for the win here. We've obviously got the factory Protons again this weekend. Pugh Anderson, Gian Domenico Basso. We heard in our little piece there from Pugh Anderson, he is feeling more comfortable with his car, more confident with his car than he ever has done. It looks as if that Proton is getting there. It's nowhere near the pace as yet of the Skodas or the Peugeot, but it's getting there. It needs to find some reliability. A finish inside the top 6, I think, would be a good result for either Gian Domenico Basso or Pugh Anderson this weekend. Don't forget, there's a third Proton as well, a third semi-factory Proton local driver in that, and we'll keep an eye out for him. Obviously someone who knows the roads well. Can he make the most of his opportunity? Well, we'll find out very shortly when the action gets underway in the mountains above me here in Yalta. As I said, and you can probably pick out from the pictures behind me, it has been a very wet night. Big storms in those mountains. Very, very difficult in terms of tyre choice this weekend. That could be the key issue on this rally. Service Park is down on the coast behind me, in the harbour. The stages are up in the mountains. You're picking tyres, 2 hours before the stage is due to run. That in itself is an art form. Weather information, weather crews could be critical in deciding the outcome of this one. An awful lot of unknown in this rally here. It's an established rally. It's been running for many, many years. It's never been part of the IRC. It's never had quite the exposure it's getting this weekend. And as I say, our top crews, all of them, coming here for the very first time. Difficult one to predict in terms of the win, but I'm very much looking forward to the battle. I think we could have another epic. We had an epic in the Canaries, we had an epic in Corsica, we had a fabulous start to the year in Monte Carlo. Round 4 could be just as good here in Yalta. So, it all kicks off today, Thursday afternoon, 2 short street-like stages, close to downtown Yalta, I suppose. The real action gets underway Friday morning. There are 6 stages Friday, further 6 stages on Saturday, 260 Ks of total competitive distance, 15 Super 2000 cars, 51 crews in total, and me at the stage ends. Don't forget, you can follow all of the coverage on the internet on ircseries.com, but more importantly, if you've got an iPhone, if you've got an iPad, follow us on iRally. Have a look at our iRally YouTube channel as well. You can catch our little videos from rallies around the world. Just put put official iRally into your YouTube browser and you'll see all our little videos from around the world. So there we are. Yalta, the Prime Yalta Rally kicks off here in the Ukraine very, very shortly indeed. It's going to be an epic. Tell you who I think is going to win, young Neuville.